Bolingbrook's first episode of our Feel Good Stories. Welcome. All of these stories were submitted or seen somewhere on social media. So we encourage you, if you have a Feel Good story, just submit it by email. All you have to do is email bolingbrookevents@gmail.com, and maybe you'll see yourself in the next episode. All right, this first one, this is submitted by Erin Karpus for her son Parker. Parker's from Independence Elementary School. He's a kindergartner and a penguin enthusiast. When he heard that school was going to be out for a while, he decided he wanted to make videos to teach kids and adults about his favorite animal, the penguin. There's actually a whole video series. This just happens to be a quick snippet from Parker.
These are the fairy penguins. They are the smartest type of penguin. I'll see you tomorrow for the next video.
I know, Parker, we only had time for a few seconds, but I promise if you submit another one, we'll include you in the next episode. I do want to go to the next story, submitted from Mark and Tracy Saunders. So here's the background story on this one. Barb and Dick Saunders have lived on the east side of Bolingbrook for 48 years. The Saunders family have strong Irish roots. Grandma Margaret Mary Shannon came straight from Ireland as a young teenager. As a tradition, celebrations have always included the joyful sound of bagpipes, the harmonies filling our hearts and souls. Joe Coakley, I hope I pronounce his name correctly, who's now one of their new friends and neighbors, stepped up to the plate for this one. So he's a part of the Chicago Bagpipes. He's been playing his pipes each evening in the park as a symbol of the fight against COVID-19. During a recent conversation with Joe, the Saunders told the story and the history for Barb and Dick Saunders and all their traditions with bagpipes, and without hesitation, Joe was there to help a neighboring family find joy. So please enjoy this little snippet of the video. They submitted a much longer video, but I wanted to give you a little taste. I saw the videos on Facebook. Thank you for submitting that. And Barb and Dick Saunders, happy Easter. I know that happened on Easter, and it was a great way to celebrate. So I saw everyone social distancing in the background. All right, next up is a very quick video from Bolingbrook Cub Scout Pack 134. It was submitted by Jessica Hoog and Marjorie Hathaway. This is, I believe, Den 2 Warrior Knights. A thank you to everyone on the front line right now. Big thank you, Bolingbrook Cub Scout Pack 134, one of my favorites in town. Next up are a series of things that happened at Amita Health Adventist Medical Center Bolingbrook. That's the hospital here in town. First up here is Chick-fil-A. Bolingbrook donated for the entire hospital a meal. There's Mike Wagner, who's the owner operator there, as well as some great folks from Amita Health. Next up, an OB tech, Sam Van Horn, showed support for those in the COVID-19 units by delivering Easter baskets and snacks and cards and words of encouragement. IKEA donated 2,000 masks and candy for Easter, all to Amita Health Bolingbrook. So a big thank you to IKEA, helping them celebrate Easter. This was really neat. An ICU nurse, Sonia Myers, placed neon hearts on patient room windows so family members can identify which room their loved ones were from the outside. Obviously, right now, visitors are not allowed in the hospital. So this was a really neat way for those outside the hospital family and loved ones to know which room by color their loved one was. So a big thank you to Sonia at Amita Health Bolingbrook for that. The next was just a series of thank yous, and there was way too many to name, but I know I saw a few resident favorites, Cali Girl Cakes, Danny's Pizza, all that have made deliveries to the hospital to feed the staff. And it hasn't just been the daytime staff. I know it's been the night staff as well. So a big thank you to everyone who's been doing that. And then a special shout out to Catherine Kopka. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. She actually ordered pizza and pop from local Rosati's, had it delivered to the evening shift at Amita. They were extremely grateful. I think there's a picture of them enjoying the deliciousness. And then a big shout out to Bolingbrook Church. They had a hospital blessing back on April 13th. Really neat. The pastor there, David Asagura, did an entire blessing actually by Zoom. Everyone prayed on the hospital. He prayed on the hospital. And then there was a little parade supporting everyone there at the hospital right after their 7 o'clock shift change. So a big thank you to Bolingbrook Church for doing that. Of course, if you haven't driven by Remington yet, it is probably that time to do that. Of course, you've seen those signs outside the hospital that say heroes work here. And that's not just the doctors and nurses. That is everyone inside that hospital doing amazing work for the community. So a big thank you to all of our heroes inside of Amita Health. All right, switching gears a little bit. Easter was different this year. And there was a bunch of Easter bunnies that made sort of distant visits to folks, drive-bys of sorts. This one specifically, and I know I'm going to butcher her name, but Alyssa Galuzis? Man, Alyssa, I should have called you ahead of time. 18-year resident of Bolingbrook. She's raised 3 of her kids in the same home that they bought in 2002, right here in Bolingbrook. She stuffed, I think her and her family stuffed 2,000 eggs for Easter. They normally do an Easter egg hunt. And this year, obviously couldn't do that. So her family, her husband drove them, her son rang the bell, left a letter from the bunny. Her sweet 14-year-old daughter wore the Easter bunny costume for 8 hours without a single complaint. The response was crazy good. They visited over 60 homes, over 120 kids got a gift from the Easter bunny, including my little guy, Luca. So a big thank you, and I appreciate you doing that. I know it made a difference in our neighborhood as well. Barbara Ascamila, Windsor Drive in Bolingbrook. Since COVID-19 reality has hit, she's been fortunate enough to be able to work from home remotely. Since she has been home, she's been taking regular walk breaks, and therefore she decided to do a neighborhood cleanup. She picked up trash during her laps, and there's a little picture of her doing that, just kind of giving back to the Bolingbrook community, something we definitely appreciate. So thank you, Barbara, for submitting that one. The next few, and there was a bunch of pictures here, I just picked a few, but Monique Casper and Kelly Cinco, they definitely, I saw this post and I asked them for some details because I think they wouldn't pat themselves in the back, but they definitely deserve a huge pat on the back. So they did a social media campaign. They collected over $2,300 in just 3 days. And I think when the picture was taken, I guess they were only at $21.85. But what they did was they made several meal deliveries to Amita Health Bolingbrook, Edwards and Plainfield, local fire stations, including Revere Court of Bolingbrook, which is a memory care facility here in Bolingbrook, where Monique actually volunteers at. They felt like they were surrounded by a very generous community, again, raising $2,300 in just 3 days. And actually, they've done a really neat thing for local grocery folks. So for local baggers or clerks, they've done a thank you and a gift card distribution. Everyone has loved the surprise, and the feeling of giving is the best feeling you can have, especially in a pandemic. So a big thank you to everyone who donated to the cause, but especially Monique and Kelly who organized that. And here's a little note that they left to our Bolingbrook firefighters. So a big thank you there. This was early on, right when John R. Tibbet Elementary School was distributing their Chromebooks, but just a note from Anna Wilson there, who's the principal. Obviously some posters showing a lot of support for everyone who came through, but they distributed 300 Chromebooks. She gave a whole bunch of kudos to Bolingbrook High School security and other volunteers and staff who made that distribution very successful, and obviously giving the remote learning environment that we're in, it definitely came in handy, and I've seen some of their videos. So just a quick submission from Anna Wilson there. Thank you for doing that. The next two are from St. Dominics. So Becky submitted these on behalf of the students and teachers at St. Dominics. They are making the most of social distancing. Families are decorating their windows with children's artwork and messages, and they provided a tour of addresses to their families for folks to get out, get some fresh air, drive around, and look at the windows. So schoolmates have been leaving also chalk messages, but here are just two of those windows that I wanted to show you, again, submitted by St. Dominics here in Bolingbrook. Next up, this was from Serena Freer, Sunshine Drive in Bolingbrook. This was a tough story to read, but I'm so glad you submitted it, Serena. November of 2019, she lost her husband to stage 4 lung cancer. Her son and herself have been alone, having a difficult time with everything going on. They know what it's like to be scared and to be lost. So if they were feeling this way at the time, they could only imagine what other folks have been feeling since COVID-19. So they wanted to do something to put a smile on everyone's face, including their own. So her 19-year-old son, Ziggy, and Serena have been decorating their home. They put up rainbow hearts all over the front door, as well as the windows, every window in their front house, and they wanted to put a smile on everyone's face, letting everyone know that we care, and yes, that we're all in this together. A big thank you, Serena. Next up, this picture right here, this front door that says "Remember to Smile." This was submitted by Christina and her daughter Bristol. They're over on Seneca Way. 9-year-old daughter and and Christina, had enough of constant negativity that COVID-19 has brought. So they pondered what they could do to help cheer up their neighbors. So they saw a post a while ago of people decorating their windows and front doors with positive messages. So they sat, cut out colored paper hearts, hung them on their front door with a little reminder that we all need to smile. Big thank you to Christina, and especially 9-year-old Bristol. Next up, a few local businesses. This is selfishly, I couldn't find another one. This is my little guy, Luca, but creative photography by Paul. He did really neat virtual superimposed Easter Bunny pictures. So a big shout out to Paul Herdlicka for offering that during that time, and obviously supporting his small business here in town. I know the Port of Perry Perry has been doing some great things, so visit their Facebook page. They're supporting healthcare workers. They actually have a big initiative going on right now. Mora Asian Kitchen in Bolingbrook. And again, another great initiative going on. Visit their Facebook page. They've been supporting healthcare workers and folks on the front line. I've been seeing their videos. I think they're on Channel 7 as well. PETA Zone over on Weber Road doing a really neat thing. It says right here, in the crisis of coronavirus outbreak, we would like to help our community by offering free food to who is in need. So if you have a need, if you are hungry, and you can't afford it, they are offering that. And obviously they're counting on the community support to go there and patronize their business to be able to do that. So a very big offer from PETA Zone. Their information obviously up on the screen right now. This was our friend Jimmy Choi, and I got to follow up with him. And Jimmy, if you or Cheryl are listening, let me know. But they had a big world record attempt for the largest number of people on a virtual workout session at one time. And it was all there, of course, in Jimmy Nature to bring awareness to Parkinson's disease. So let us know if you broke the world record. I want to know that personally, and I'm sure a lot of folks do. So a big shout out to Jimmy Choi and family and group. I know there was other folks involved with that for putting together that world record attempt. The next was a series and a compilation of thank you clapping videos to everyone on our front line. This was for healthcare workers, this was to first responders, this was to folks working in our grocery stores, and a bunch of folks submitted a few things, so I figured I'd play that for you. So a big shout out as well, not only to everyone in that video, but these two variations of yard signs I did want to make note. So the shop, which is formerly Bolingbrook Signs, they have these yard signs available. I think they're $18. They include the stake, and the best part is $5 from each yard sign is going to support all of our frontline heroes. So they're doing some really neat things. So contact Leslie over at the shop. And you can find that up on the Bolingbrook Strong landing page if you need a link to that. That was a big compilation. There's some other folks that submitted videos. I think this is submitted by Miss Luthra. These kids, I believe, are Ayan and Krishika. That was submitted by them, clapping out for our frontline heroes. And this was submitted by Nancy Castillo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this clearly, I didn't want to keep this overly long, so I covered, there's 20 different feel-good stories, very short snippets, but I wanted to make sure that I provided that for you. I already, like I said, have a list of about 15 more for the next episode. So if you have an idea, if you have a goodwill story, something positive and supportive for what's happening right now, please submit your stories. You can just submit them by email, bolingbrookevents@gmail.com. Please include the names of the folks in there, roundabout where they live, maybe what street they live on in town, and we really want to keep them local to what's happening here in Bolingbrook. So I hope the technology worked for this first round. We will definitely take a look, see what worked well, and improve for the next broadcast. But get in those feel-good stories. We are truly all in this together, and I appreciate everyone who submitted stories. I hope I didn't butcher their names too much, but we will have a next episode in the next few days, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening.